Over 30 years ago, the brainwashing began in our higher education institutions when our children were off to college to get an education that would enhance their careers. We can look around us and see what these 30 years of higher education has produced. Not all of them, but the majority of our colleges have been infiltrated over the years with socialist, communist, and Marxist ideology. It has produced the type of local, state, and national leaders that we have today. That is not where they intend to stop. They are now taking aim at our young children in our high schools, middle schools, and all the way down to even the elementary school. Parents were not able to know what was being taught in colleges, but we are able to know what kind of things are being taught to our children in grade school. That is, if we will check into it and find out. Ronald Reagan said this when he was president, quote, "Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on for them to do the same, or one day we will spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it was once like in the United States where men were free." What prophetic words those were. If you look at how long these poisonous theories have been taught to our children, you will see that it has nearly been a generation. To complete their plan, they must now poison the minds of our young children. It is up to the parents to draw a line in the sand and hold our schools and our board members accountable. Those who were indoctrinated at colleges are now in positions of power. From city council to city commissioners, mayors, and school board members. They have had time to be elected into the state and federal governments of our land. That is why the demoralization of our country is taking place so quickly. This is not political or neither for or against any political party. This is about our God-given right to be free. Every single one of us, no matter what the color of our skin or social standing may be. It is our responsibility to protect and teach our children the way of freedom. Freedom cannot exist in a country where socialist, communist, and Marxist ideals control the government. These teachings that are meant to subvert the minds of our children are the ideals that will take our freedoms away from us. Parents and grandparents, it is up to you to protect and teach your children and grandchildren about freedom. How freedom was not free. What the great price was that many men and women paid for us to enjoy what we have had over the last couple of hundred years. This attack on our children and our freedoms will not go away on its own. We must stand up and we must fight against it. If you look around, you can see that this was a long-term plan. The attack was started and we must not stick our heads in the sand. It was October 1960 when Soviet Premier Nikita Khrushchev visited the United Nations. On October the 16th in 1960, he addressed the UN prior to his departure and return back to the Soviet Union. And in closing his speech that day, he made the famous proclamation that the United States would be defeated without a shot being fired. In 1963, a list of communist goals were submitted to the House of Representatives by the Honorable A.S. Herlong, Jr. of Florida. This was a list taken from the book The Naked Communist by Cleon Skousen. For the sake of time, I'm only going to cover the ones about our children and the school system. Point number 15 was capture one or both of the political parties in the United States. Number 17 was get control of the schools, use them as transmission belts for socialism and current communist propaganda, soften the curriculum, get control of teachers' associations, put the party line in textbooks. Number 18, gain control of all student newspapers. Number 19, use student riots to foment public protest against programs or organizations which are under communist attack. Number 20 was to infiltrate the press, get control of book review assignments, editorial writing, policy making, positions. Number 21, gain control of key positions in radio, TV, and motion pictures. Number 28, eliminate prayer or any phase of religious expression in the schools on the grounds that it violates the principle of separation of church and state. Most of these things on the list that I covered have already happened, or they are in the process of happening as we speak. I will provide a link to the entire list of the 45 communist goals in our group. So what can we do to protect our children and prevent the teaching of this poison in our schools? What we can't afford to do is be silent. Educate yourself and find out what our schools intend to teach our children. Support the laws that are trying to keep this ideology out of our school systems. Most of all, talk to your children about what is going on in our country. Teach them about the history of our nation, the good and the bad. Let them know how precious freedom truly is. Let them know that we are all equal in the eyes of God. No race is better than the other. We must embrace our fellow man no matter what color of skin they have or where they are from. Your children will watch you. They will listen to what remarks that you make. Don't allow social media to influence your child's beliefs.